Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Jules Sebastian.
And tell us a bit about yourself, Mr. Sebastian.
Well, like Mr. Park, I'm a veteran. After jumping with the 82nd Airborne in the initial stages of Desert Storm, airborne all the way, I was able to use my GI Bill to attend the University of North Carolina, Charlotte.
What do you do for a living now?
I'm the lead forensic investigator for the Midland State Police in Breckinridge County.
Do you have any specific qualifications for this type of position?
I do. I've been the lead forensic investigator since 2010. Before that, I was the assistant forensic investigator for 12 years. At the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, I obtained my undergraduate degree in criminology. I then attended the John Jay College of Criminal Justice and obtained my forensic science degree. And that's what I used to attend the Midland State Police Academy, where I graduated second out of my class of 331.
Have you ever testified in court before?
I have testified in over 30 criminal cases.
And what brings you to court today?
On the morning of August 18th, 2010, I received a call from Officer Dale Williams reporting shots fired at 23 Maple Street. I rushed over as quickly as I could, and I began my investigation.
Mr. Sebastian, during your investigation, did you have sufficient facts and data?
I did. I collected all of the relevant evidence, which included the Park's revolver, swabs of the Park living room where the shooting occurred, the autopsy report of Sidney Park, as well as swabs of Sidney and Jesse Duran.
Did you collect this data under reliable principles and methods?
Yes. I used everything from my training, my experience, my schooling, everything I've learned about the facets of crime scene analysis, including gunshot residue testing, fingerprint analysis, as well as ballistics testing.
Did you apply those reliable principles and methods to today's case?
I did.
Okay. Now, you mentioned during your investigation you collected a handgun. Did this gun provide you with any useful information?
It did. I was able to find several fingerprints on this handgun.
Mr. Sebastian, how do you determine whether a fingerprint is a match?
Well, you see, each person has their own individual fingerprint. And when I lift a set of prints from the scene of a crime, and then I take a sample from a person, I look for exactly 16 points or more of exact match. And that is how I find a perfect match for a set of fingerprints.
So whose fingerprints did you find?
Well, I found the fingerprints of Jesse Duran in 2 places on the Park revolver.
Point of order. Can I see the witness? I'm sorry.
Yes, of course.
Okay. We do that. Can you move that one back there a little bit?
Oh, I just, how you were standing, you were just
Oh.
starting.
All right, is this all right? Okay. Your Honor, permission for my
Go ahead.
witness to step down and use a demonstrative.
Go ahead.
Mr. Sebastian, what is this an illustration of?
Well, this is a blown up picture of the Park revolver as it appeared on August 18th of 2010.
You mentioned Jesse's fingerprints. Where did you find those fingerprints?
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't find any on the handle right here. You see that's a tacky surface. However, I did find a match for Jesse Duran's right pinky right here at number 4, as well as at number 3. Found a match for Jesse Duran on the barrel.
Was the gun the only object you tested for fingerprints?
It was not. I also lifted a couple fingerprints from the shell casing of the bullet that was confirmed to have killed Sidney Park.
Whose fingerprints did you find on the shell casing?
I found 2 prints for Jesse Duran, a 10-point match for Jesse Duran's right thumb, as well as a 12-point match for Jesse Duran's right index finger.
What does this mean?
Well, it indicated that Jesse Duran likely had his fingers in a pinching motion on this bullet, and then loaded the revolver.
Did you conduct any other tests during your investigation?
I did. I performed what is called a gunshot residue test.
Before we go any further, what is gunshot residue?
You see, whenever a firearm is discharged, 3 elements are expelled along with the gunpowder that are very difficult to find anywhere else. These elements include lead, barium, and antimony. And I look for those particles on a person when looking for gunshot residue.
How do you collect gunshot residue?
Well, I took swabs of Jesse Duran's clothes as well as his hands, and then I did the same thing to Sidney Park, as well as several pieces of furniture in the Park home.
And where did you find gunshot residue?
Found it in 3 places on Jesse Duran. I've brought a demonstrative to illustrate my findings.
Mr. Sebastian, what is this an illustration of?
Well, this is a visual representation of Jesse Duran as he appeared on August 18th of 2010. Each dot represents one positive match for gunshot residue.
So where exactly on Jesse Duran's person was there the most gunshot residue?
There are 3 places. First, on Jesse Duran's right dominant hand, 200 particles. Jesse Duran's chest, 75. Finally, on Jesse Duran's left hand, 25 particles.
Mr. Sebastian, as a forensic analyst, what does this suggest to you?
Well, it showed me 2 things. First, the number of gunshot residue particles on his right dominant hand indicates that the gun went off in his hand. Furthermore, a simple proportion of gunshot residue particles in his right hand versus his chest and left hand indicate that his arm was nearly or fully extended at the time of the weapon's discharge.
Permission for a witness to take the stand.
Go ahead.
After you conducted all of these tests during your investigation, did you come to any conclusions?
I did. I was able to find out the likely course of events that morning. It appears that Jesse Duran likely loaded the Parks revolver, then had his arm nearly or fully extended at the time of the weapon's discharge, which killed Sidney Park at 9:45 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions. Would you like me to deconstruct the demonstrators?
Oh, yeah, you can move it.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's first talk about the